Hey guys, it's Gabriel from the Disciples here, and today we're going to be doing a combo video on the FTK list. I'm going to be showing some of the more awkward hands, things people have asked about, like what happens if you draw Explode Rocket, what happens if you draw ASLLA PISCU, what happens if you draw Phalanx, how to play around hand traps. So first off, I think most people have seen this replay, but this is basically C-Earth plus any discard. This is the standard FTK. It does work with Seaford, Black Metal Dragon, any way to get your dragon to the field. Not using Tracer. If you use Tracer, you need to go a slightly different route that we're gonna be talking about after. Yeah, basically you got your Herald, then you got 2 LP Striker, and once you have like this setup, like Fiber, 2 arrows, that's 30k. So just let us play out for the sake of the video. For people that still didn't know how the FTK works, you resolve ASLLA PISCU by destroying 5 tokens in your opponent's side of the field to burn for 4000, and then you resolve Explode Rocket twice, once during your turn, once during your opponent's standby phase, to do 2000 each, killing them in the process. So this is the first one. This is the one that's a bit different. People have asked me, what happens if you have to use Boot Sector Launch as one of your 2 dragons? So for example, if you open like any normal summonable dragon and Rocket Tracer. The play is pretty similar. You need that discard. You need 2 discards. Yeah. You go Buster Dragon, make Striker. Striker gets Boot Sector. Here is where it differentiates because you're using Boot Sector to Tracer as your second dragon, so you gotta go for a run. You still do the same thing as in the other plays, since you go like Divine Lance for Phalanx, you make Link Cross. Link Cross gets the tokens, so you can go into Marcher and set up the Herald play after you go Fiber. So yeah, Fiber for Red Rose. Those make Herald, that gets the second level 4 dragon, and that gets you to the same board I was talking about, that is Fiber, Striker Dragon, and LP, with LP pointing, not LP, but like 2 arrows, so LP can resolve. You got Bro Tower. Here is where you make something different. You actually need to get Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. The errata is not relevant for the combo, but Red Eyes means it's basically you're searching a Tracer, because you already have the Tracer in the graveyard, but you can just search Tracer because you already used Boot Sector Special Summon. So the way we're going to be doing about this, we search the Red Eyes banishes the LP. Yeah, you discard the Call by the Grave to pay for the Bro Tower. You banish the LP, getting rid of the Guard Dragon restriction. You get the Red Eyes get Tracer back, and then now you're free to make Rose Maiden. Rose Maiden's gonna get the Black Garden, and then you basically combo the same way you would. You, instead of making the Lingeros with Striker and LP, you're making the Lingeros with Striker and Red Eyes. You get him a token, you make Union Cat here, the Rose Maiden's gonna revive, and it's the same combo as that happened before. Important thing to note, if Red Eyes wasn't errated here, as you're gonna see in a second, you would Pisty bring Red Eyes back, and then Red Eyes brings Tracer because it doesn't enter summon, but as you can see, yeah, as it's noted here, but as you can see, it doesn't really matter because you can just like Pisty summon the Tracer, the Linger is gonna summon itself, you can here attach Tracer, and then you make the Boho Sword, that gives you a token, then you Tracer pop Piscu, you summon, you go Piscu Chainlink 1, Garden Chainlink 2, since they're both mandatory triggers you can choose, that means they get another token, and you burn them for 4, and then Explode Rocket the strings for 2 each. Yeah, this is another awkward line. It is, if you only have Hauki Fibroids, and you can't access Romulus, so for example, if you open like Shrine and a Hand Trap, Quick Launch and a Hand Trap, or like you Nibiru them and you have a Veiler, that's still FTK, but you go through a slightly different route that doesn't get you to Herald. Shrine for Darkroom here. Darkroom brings itself back. Make Striker Dragon. You don't actually need this to be a dragon. You're just making Striker Dragon here because Darkroom is. But if this was like an Ibiru, you actually make the second Striker somewhere in the combo, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, do the same thing. Then you normal the Veiler. Get the Hauki Fibrex. Here, instead of making Herald, you're going to make Link Cross and go straight into Rose Maiden, which makes this combo more vulnerable to hand traps, but this is not the usual route you take. This is just like if everything fails. So yeah, you get Rose Maiden, you get the other Rose Dragon, and you get a Black Garden. Oh yeah, I think I forgot to add the black card in here. It's coming in a second. Yeah. You make LP and then you use the Buster Whelp. This is one of the main functions of Buster Whelp, allowing display, because now you have LP pointing to something and you have Protector Whelp. You got Bro Tower discards, you got the Tracer, someone here. Here you gotta go a bit different because you already made Rose Maiden, so you don't need like to get rid of the restriction. So you can just like straight up set up Kahir and arrows. This is why I'm making the Lingerus here, because then you can make Kahir after. Yeah, you give him a token, you get a second token here. Rose Maiden gets that, that's the third token. They don't get tokens while we were under LP or PST. This is something a lot of people don't know. But yeah, so it's important to try to give them tokens early. You make the PST revives the Tracer, that revives the Lingerus, and then it's the same combo as you've seen before. You get Boho Sword for the fourth token, you can here attach Tracer, and then you Tracer pop, same thing, chaining 1, chaining 2, burn for 4, then burn for 2, and burn for 2 again. This is another awkward route, is when you draw Dragonite Phalanx. As you've seen in all of the other combos, Phalanx is sort of a key combo piece because that's what allows you to turn the Romulus into Linkross and the tokens into Marcher. Drawing Phalanx is not the end of the world, it's not optimal, but for Phalanx plus any dragon that special summons itself, I'm using Noctovision here, but it could be Quick Launch, could be World Legacy War Dragon, or one of the baby Chaos Dragons. Basically anything is doing FTK, you just gotta go through a slightly more awkward route. As you see here, it's very similar to the fiber play. You basically, oh yeah, this is supposed to be Boot Sector. You summon the thing, you make Romulus. Romulus now gets Ravine instead of the Lance because you can't summon Phalanx anymore. Ravine discards anything, gets that gets the Tracer. And then from here you basically have the fiber play. Because you have Tracer in the graveyard, you have Linkross into this, so you can do the fiber play. The only difference is instead of actually getting fiber into going LP into Bro Tower and Bro Tower into Tracer, you just get the Red Eyes and you do a similar thing from the first replay show, that you banish the LP to summon the Red Eyes and the Red Eyes summons the Tracer back, and that basically does the same here. Since you already have Rose Maiden Nexus, it's way easier. It does also not make Herald, but there is an option. There is a thing people that just picked up the deck never noticed. It's one of my favorite combos. So if you open like a way to 2 dragons, I'm gonna use Seaford here, and the Phalanx, so you don't need to use Phalanx to get your Romulus. You can actually take advantage of Romulus effects. So yeah, you get your Romulus with Seaford. Same thing. You still add Ravine, very similar to the last combo, but here's where you do something a bit different. You still Ravine, discard something, send Router, get Tracer, Boot Sector for Tracer, and then here is the fun part, you actually make the Striker Dragon here with the Tracer, and that's gonna trigger Dragonite Romulus effect. Romulus has an effect that when a dragon special summon from the extra deck, choose when it points to, you can summon a dragon or a winged beast in defense, but you can't use it as link material. But this means you can special summon this Phalanx that it was dead in your hand, and now you can use Linkross here. You Linkross for 2 tokens. You make the Metal Marcher, you get the Phalanx back. You make the Herald, and then you can make Fiber with Linkross and Phalanx. Summon the Red Rose, make LP with Red Rose, and you basically are in the same setup with the Herald, just by having like a Seaford and the Phalanx. So drawing the Phalanx, like, it wasn't optimal, but it also wasn't terrible there. And it means you already have Tracer access, so you can LP for Red Eyes. So a lot of people said, oh, the combo is dead if you draw the Phalanx. That's not the case, and you can even do the Herald. So it's just like not optimal, but it's still doable. Another combo a lot of people question when we're talking about is what happens if you already have one of the Explode Rockets in the graveyard. This is the main reason we actually play Quad Barrel Dragon, other than playing around Kalba the Graven Nash. But this replay shows you how important Quad Barrel is. We need like Tracer, Explode Rocket, and 2 discards, one for Bro Tower, one for the what's the name, the Quad Barrel. So you go Tracer, Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon gets boot. You do the same play as standard. It's gonna be basically the same play, and we're just gonna fast forward it here. You gain lane cross, same play. You're gonna want to end on the same spot that we are talking about with Herald and 2 arrows here. You summon Bro Tower, you get a red eye, similar to the first play. And yeah, it just differs a bit in the end. You get a cat here, you get a token. Okay, so here is where things get a bit different. You summon Quad Borrow because since you only play 2 Explode Rockets, if you did the same play and only ended on Tracer, you would only be able to burn them for 2k once, and that's not optimal. You want to kill them. So the way you do it is you make Quad Borrow and then you attach Care here to like Red Eyes or to the Quad Borrow, attach to something. You use Quad Borrow to pop the Care here, which allows you to summon back the Tracer and the Explode Rocket, which will give them a token. Yeah, this is just to give them a token. And then now you can go into Boho Sword with them. Burn them for 4 by using the Piscu Black Garden channeling thing. Boho Sword pops for 2, and then on their turn, you Tracer pop, summon Explode Rocket, and then Boho Sword pop. And that's 2k more. Oh, and this is one of the replays that is one of the main reasons I think this deck is very strong compared to the other Dragon Link variants that they tried to make Apollo before committing to Guard Dragon plays, but that means you have to commit like more. This shows how little this deck commits before you draw Herald. So it like if you have like any combo, basically any combo plus World Legacy Guard Dragon, you're still making an FTK. We were going to start very similar as all of the other ones. It's a bit linear in a way. It's a very hard deck to play, but the start combos are linear because Romulus is their main get you. You get your Striker Dragon, get the Boot Sector, make Romulus, get the Lens, and you're gonna summon 2. They might Nibiru you here, or most likely they will Nibiru you here when you make Marcher token and Phalanx. It's coming back. Yeah, they probably will Nibiru you here. So that means you have a token. And your only extender is World Legacy Guard Dragon. But World Legacy Guard Dragon also it's a tuner revival because it can revive the Phalanx that you already set up, and it is an LP arrow because it basically means you don't need a Striker Dragon because Striker Dragon main function was being an arrow for LP, but now that you already have the World Legacy Guard Dragon, you could just like Fiber summon and move it as you're gonna see here. So your World Legacy Guard Dragon, get the Phalanx back, make Fiber summons Red Rose, you summon LP on any of the zones, World Legacy Guard Dragon triggers to move it, and then LP summons Bro Tower. This combo will need to be done a bit different, so you need to Bro Tower, discard something, get the Red Eyes, banish LP to summon the Red Eyes, because I already have Tracer in the graveyard. On the tournament, this also worked if you open Black Metal Dragon, it doesn't work anymore because of the Red Eyes errata, because the Red Eyes was the extra monster. It doesn't work anymore, but you play so many copies of Rocket Tracer. You have 3 Tracer, Ravine, Router, 3 Quick Launch, 3 Dragon Shrine, Foolish. So you usually have Tracer access. You can also just have an extra extender if you didn't have Tracer. But yeah, you do it similarly. You make the Rose Maiden here, get the Black Garden, and then yeah, basically the same combo. Get you Union K here, vanish to summon, give another token, you make Pisty, they stop getting tokens. Here is where you're gonna do a play a bit differently because you didn't get to the Lingerus, because you didn't have the extra monster that usually goes to the Lingerus to clear the arrows to clear the Guard Dragon restriction for Rose Maiden. So this means you gotta Tracer pop something, you're gonna pop World Legacy Guard Dragon here in the scenario to summon the Explode Rocket, not giving them a token because of Pisty, my bad. This allows them to go into Quad Borrow, giving them another token. You can K here attach the Quad Borrow, then you pop the K here to summon the Explode Rocket back, giving them another token, and then you can go Tracer this and this into Borrow Sword, giving them a token, blowing Chainlink 1 Piscu, Chainlink 2 Garden, you burn it for 4, then Borrow Sword burns for 2, and so in the end phase you're gonna summon a Tracer, Tracer is gonna pop itself to summon the Explode Rocket, and that's another 2. So this proves like how resilient the deck is Trinibiru. And if you can play Trinibiru, you basically can play through any hand trap. Because if you think about it, Herald would be negating the other hand trap. So unless they have like one of the very, I don't know, power hand traps like Dimension Shifter, Ghost Reaper, or like a combination of two, most hands that beat Nibiru beat basically any hand trap. So I think this is it. Some final notes that also people have asked about the combo. What happens if you draw Earthbound Immortal ASLLA PISCU? Union Carrier actually attaches from the hand. It's a thing not a lot of people know, but you can just like equip one monster to from your hand or deck with the same original type or attribute. So if you drop Pisco, you can just attach. If you need to discard Pisco, it happens sometimes. Like if your only playable card, if you have like, I don't know, Chaos Space or you get hand trapped, then you 1 for 1 need to discard Pisco. You can search Chaos Dragon Levianeer with the Bro Tower and banish 3 lights, which usually you have like the cat here is a light, but mainly like Herald, Linkross, and White Dragon or something. To have the 3 lights for Levianeer, then you can Levianeer revive it. And I think those are like the main questions people had about the combo. But if you guys have any other like awkward hand that you like open when playtesting this and you're like, oh, how do I FTK with this? Feel free like to post it in the comments and it should have a replay here. I'll be posting like all of the replays that were used here in the description. Maybe have some more because I didn't have time to cover all of the weird hands in this video. But yeah, that's it. Peace.
Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel, as well as follow all of our socials in the description below to keep up to date on the team. Also, check out our sponsors, the Brotherhood Games, MetaMat and Card Market, whose links are also down below. Thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next video.